The August 6, 2025 meeting of the Harwich Conservation Commission being held in the Don B. Griffin Room in Harwich Town Hall. Participation is possible in person in the room or online using GoToMeeting. Login instructions can be found on the agenda posted online on the Town of Harwich website. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself from this first one.
Oh, we're doing the LCP first.
Oh, all right. Okay. That's right.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Barbara Nickerson. I'm a member of the local planning committee who is updating the local comprehensive plan. And I'm here this evening to give you a quick overview of where we are, status of everything, and then see if you have any comments or questions and kind of give you broad reach as to where we're going to be going with this and timing and stuff. All right? Thank you for loading this. We had our meeting last night, and we had public comments. We received probably maybe 10 or 12 folks were there receiving public comment for it. Right now, we're starting our 60-day period for receiving comment from public as well as town offices, town boards, town commissions, etc. stuff. So I'm going to scoot through this pretty quick and just kind of hit some of the highlights that are probably more important to you or of your benefit. There are a number of benefits from the comprehensive plan. Obviously, it provides support for local bylaw changes at town meeting, which I understand from last night. We had hoped for a special town meeting to have it, to approve it this fall, but we were nixed on that one, and I guess it's going to be next May of 2026. Obviously, we work with the Cape Cod Commission. In fact, the styling of the document is based on what the Cape Cod Commission requires. Its consistency is required for proposed developments of regional impact, which is reviewed by the CCC, such as the Wishmere Harbor Club, the proposed hotel that they're looking at down there. It gives us priority consideration for commission planning and technical assistance, ability to enter into development agreements with others, as well as assessing impact fees. When we started this program, and it was started in September of 2022, so it's been just shy of 3 years, we thought we were just doing the comprehensive plan update, and when we started digging into it, we realized that the housing production plan and the open space plan had not been updated either. So fortunately, we were able to get the two of those completed, also updated, because they feed into the overall comprehensive plan. As I said earlier, the organization is based on what we're given by the commission, state through the commission. We didn't necessarily choose it. We have 3 systems: the natural systems, built systems, and the community systems. Obviously, the natural systems is probably more important or more of an interest to you all. Those include water resources, ocean resources, wetlands, wildlife and plant habitat, as well as open space. Through the 3 years, we have had a number of public outreach processes that have happened. I know I've been here before. I think Margot has been here before. Most of us have been to several other boards and commissions throughout the town of Harwich. We've had 2 open meetings for the public back in March and April of 2024. Also, the first year we were working on this in 2023, we had postcards that we handed out to both local folks as well as tourists and summer folks, and asked them, we had 3 questions on there, asked them different questions, and we got the responses, and actually, we got over 200 responses on that, so that was pretty good as to what was important to them in Harwich. There were 4 themes that we talked about in the March and April public meetings. They were land use and growth, housing, environmental resource protection, and community facilities and infrastructure. And as you would suspect, there's a lot of overlap between the 4 areas. Sometimes we try to put one into a particular silo and ended up, 2 silos later, it's the same type of thing. So it's a lot of, even though it looks like it's siloed, it really is not. It's a lot of crisscrossing with the different factors. If you don't mind, I'm going to read our community vision, because I think this is really important, because those of you that remember the 2010-2011 comprehensive plan, there's a huge difference, and where we've been going for the last 3 years versus where we were 15 years ago, actually. In 2050, Harwich is a vibrant and sustainable community that honors its natural beauty, historic charm, and village character, while meeting the needs of our residents for attainable housing to support economic and community growth. Our commitment to this vision is deeply rooted in the protection of water and natural resources, recognizing their intrinsic value to our community. And of course, as we said, that's one of the main things that you and this board do. And we also, okay. Did I do something?
We have somebody, my coworker's going to the laptop right now. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. And until, it's okay.
Hopefully, there's not the same login credentials for that other meeting going on tonight.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I have to.
Sorry for the delay.
It's okay.
Do you need me to call Jamie?
It's Caleb right now.
Oh.
I'm going to see if we.
I think I have his number too. I'm sure you do as well.
Mind-boggling. Okay,
Are we good?
Sorry about, yeah, I think we're good.
Thank you.
thank you. No problem.
No worries.
Some of the key challenges that we identified over the last 3 years has been obviously housing affordability, which is one of the big issues. As you know, if you remember 15 years ago, it was all about wastewater, and now it's more about housing and growth. Lack of available land for construction of affordable and attainable housing, limited sewer infrastructure, maintaining our village identity and character. We thought that was extremely important. We're not just Harwich Center or Harwich Port, we are 7 villages. Climate impacts of property and resources, and managing growth and resource protection. Okay, for the natural systems, these are some of our priorities for our action plan that we're gonna be recommending. And here again, as I said, if this is of interest to you all, if you have thoughts on this, comments on this, we look forward to hearing from you, because this is your bailiwick. We want to complete the pond profiles and expand monitoring, acquire open space and public water supply areas, prepare resource management plan for the 6 ponds area, develop a coastal rebuilding standards, continue to implement the comprehensive wastewater management plan, and protect habitat and prepare land management plans. These are some of the built systems, and I don't know if you really want to go through them or just read it on your own. What I said earlier, as far as crisscrossing, one of the things we have there is prepare flood area design guidelines, which we talked about being prepared for the coastal resiliency, prepare for storm events, and other things include some of the, such as develop additional historic districts and such as that for our built systems. Our community systems, similar scenario where we have crossover. We want to prepare design, we think it's important to prepare design guidelines for each of the 7 villages because they're not all going to look alike. And a lot of times we've been looking at it as one Harwich. However, within that one Harwich, we have 7 villages that feed up into it. We're looking at monitoring subsidized housing inventory, support for the seasonal workforce housing, that type of thing. And obviously, under the capital facilities and infrastructure plan, this area is intended to support and advance our vision, growth policy, goals, and actions, because as you know, as I hear was discussed Monday night, the fact that we go from 12,000 people to now we're over 40,000 people this summer, and I don't know about you, but I can't get around anywhere or get out of my driveway half the time, so we do have some infrastructure needs every summer. And describing key capital facilities and infrastructure needs that we've identified in the plan itself, and looking for funding options for them. So, in a nutshell, that's where we are. As I said earlier, we're starting our 60-day comment period by public as well as town administration, town departments, town boards, commissions. We really are very serious about requesting comments or questions, especially in your areas of expertise or areas that you are passionate about. As I said, we had a good meeting last night. We had about 10 or 12 folks get up and bring up different things that they think they're lacking in the area, which actually there were a couple things that we forgot about totally, and appreciated the fact that they brought it to our attention and stuff. Our goal is to have this as a living document, not just sitting on the shelf collecting dust like so many plans before that. We're trying to work with the select board to determine how we can make that happen, because obviously things change. It's only updated every 10 years or so, and I don't know about you, but an awful lot happens in those 10 years between when you finish it and when we're gonna look at updating it stuff. I mean, things happen since we did this draft and stuff, so we do want it to be a living document, and we're also trying to work with the select board to determine how we can kind of keep an eye on where things are going with it versus, oh yeah, well, we didn't do that, we didn't do that. It's like, well, why didn't we do that? Things that are prioritized throughout the plan, so.
Okay, thank you. Amy, do you have anything to
I want
add?
to
or
thank
should-
you and the committee for all your hard work, and I'm in the process of reviewing it as well, and I'll be providing commentary in regards to what we've accomplished in the past 15 years, and what some of the things that in this document you're already suggesting to do that we've started to do, as well as provide thoughts on where we go in the future.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is we
Right.
can kind of think about it, but the reality is that y'all are the ones that are figuring out where you're going, and
Right.
it needs to be included in the document so that there's some meat to it.
Yep, so I would like to kind of pencil this in to put on our September 3rd agenda to have your comments to me, and thus to them as well, in time for that meeting to have more of a discussion on it. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, we'll take.
I don't have anything.
Sophia,
I don't have anything.
Mark is a no. Viv?
No, just thanks for all the hard work. I don't have any
Thank you.
questions or comments right
We
now.
appreciate your support through the 3-year timeframe. Okay,
I have one question.
yes, sir.
What is the first action plan priority here for natural systems, complete pond profiles. I should know what that is, but I don't. So could you flesh that out a little, or do you know what that action actually is and who's responsible for doing it?
Well, I think Margot may have, I think Margot had brought that up, is that as far as basically having complete profiles for all of the ponds within Harwich, so we can keep an eye on their health and where we're going, how we're going forward with some of them, like we're having issues with the nitrogen loadings and
Yep.
some of the cyanobacteria and that type of thing. And I think from where Margot's, I think this has started with the Cape Cod Commission.
Yeah.
And that was just some of our recommendations were continuations of things that were in process. I questioned that myself, is like, why are we, if it's going, why are we including it? But they told me, they convinced me where we need to
Yeah.
go, so.
So it's kind of, it's two things. It's kind of like an inventory of all the ponds and the different statistics on all the ponds, size, depth, da-da-da. But then also, essentially a short history of the water quality data, so that are a synopsis essentially of things. So that would be with Stephanie over at Natural Resources as well, who runs the PALS program. So it's also, so it'll be in a collaboration with various entities to put all that together in sort of like an inventory. And I know that the Harwich Ponds Association, which John's part of, has a lot of the basics as well. So that's a good place to look.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions in the room? Is there anyone online? I don't hear anything. So
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, next we have a notice of intent for 70 Lothrop Ave, map 20, parcel A2, for a cottage demolition.
Wayne's recusing himself.
Yes. Mr. Carlson is recusing himself. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr.
You have
Chairman.
the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Conservation Commission and Town Conservation Administrator. My name is Michael Locke, Executive Director of the nonprofit Harwich Conservation Trust. We have Kelly Grant, Harwich Conservation Trust Land Protection Specialist. And we have in the audience the President of the Harwich Conservation Trust Board of Trustees, Tom Evans. Thank you for including this notice of intent application for 70 Lothrop Ave on your agenda this evening. The focus, as you mentioned, is the removal of a structure that's at the property, 70 Lothrop Avenue, in order to improve the natural setting. It's part of a two-phase ecological restoration effort. The second phase, which will be part of a separate notice of intent application, will be removal of the causeway. But we're here tonight for the first phase, and presenting will be Kelly.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So this is the property at 70 Lothrop Ave. It's a 2.5 acre parcel on Pine Island, which is within the Herring River estuary. The property is reached via a filled causeway dirt driveway from Lothrop Ave and includes a circa 1961 cottage and some accessory structures. There's a full unfinished basement and a small porch. Utilities include electric, town water. There's no gas at the property. There is an old cesspool septic system on the property, no Title V system according to the Board of Health. The property is mostly upland, but is obviously bordered on all sides by the Herring River Marsh. It's a property that holds a lot of conservation value in terms of aquatic core habitat, wetland core habitat as mapped by the Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program BioMap. And it's also mapped as critical natural landscape for coastal adaptation, making it important for silt marsh migration with climate change. So, in terms of its jurisdiction under the wetland regulations, the entire property is within 100 feet of the salt marsh, and the entire property is within the AE flood zone as mapped by FEMA. As we're not proposing any new structures or improvements within the 100-foot, we relied on the existing delineated wetlands on the survey plan as being accurate and sufficient, because they pretty much delineate the wetland line around the edges of the island. So the proposed work that's happening within the jurisdictional area is the removal of the cottage, removal of the accessory structures, and restoration of any disturbed areas. So to start with, there'll be a staked silt fence or similar barrier that will be installed prior to any demolition work that will follow the layout on the sketch plan that was provided and adapted as needed in the field to obviously exclude any existing natural vegetation that we're trying to protect, and to protect any, to the greatest extent, any areas from disturbance. So post-demolition, any areas that are not restored with plantings immediately will be left protected with erosion control to prevent any runoff or erosion during that period. So the demolition work will be carried out from existing disturbed areas to the extent that's practical. So that means keeping heavy equipment within existing driveway areas, parking areas, and the footprint of the structures to the extent that it can be done. Obviously to avoid any impacts to the surrounding vegetation and unnecessary soil disturbance. And then all the demolition material will be disposed of at site at an approved off-site location by the contractor. So the demolition will include the removal of the structure and the foundation. It will include the removal of and disposal of the accessory structures, the draining, removal of the cesspool and filling with clean sediment, filling of the basement void and loaming that area, any disturbed area, and we're stipulating 4 inches of loam that the contractor will put in after the area is cleared and filled. And then the seeding of any disturbed areas with the New England native grass seed mix, removal of any non-native landscape foundation plants, and then replacement plantings of native shrubs and trees within the disturbed area. At the moment, we're anticipating, if we complete the demolition work during the fall, that we'll probably get to the point of being able to seed everything at the end of the demolition to allow ground cover to get established to stabilize the site, and then we'll probably come back in the spring with an approved planting list to get the plants in the ground. Looking at a mix of low shrubs, larger shrubs, and then based on availability, some tree species as well. So, as I said, restoration will be carried out in any disturbed areas of the site. Areas that are left open will be covered with a mulch or similar product to increase stabilization. And then if it's needed, we'll look at providing some temporary irrigation if the conditions are drier than usual. And the site will be monitored on an ongoing basis by HCT staff to make sure that any disturbed areas are adequately restored. So in terms of meeting the performance standards for the wetland regulations, specifically 310 CMR 10.32 for salt marsh, where any proposed work within 100 feet of a salt marsh shall not destroy any portion of the salt marsh and shall not have an adverse effect on productivity of the salt marsh. While we are proposing work within 100 feet of the salt marsh, the work will occur greater than 50 feet from the salt marsh, and with erosion control and restoration, we're expecting that to improve the quality of that 100-foot buffer and having no adverse effect on the surrounding salt marsh. So, I'll take any questions you have.
Thank you. Amy?
I don't Not too much. I had posed a few questions to Kelly and Mike, and they responded in your responses, or in your review that I have. One thing I just want to be clear on is that the cesspool itself will be physically removed and not just filled. That's something that we typically look for, and to completely naturalize the island, if you're getting rid of the basement foundation and everything else, it makes sense to get rid of everything. So, curious, well, you said you hope to demo this fall, so that's your hope. Okay. I think it makes sense to do the seeding in the fall and then kind of look in the spring and see what's needed where. And I had asked about the public access, whether it would remain, and you had said temporarily, at least for now, it would remain for foot traffic out to the island. But your eventual plan, which would require coming back to the commission, will be removing the causeway to get the salt marsh, or the water to actually flow past that berm. And on the landward side, I guess you could say, of that berm is a lot of Phragmites. So hopefully, removal of that berm will help push back some of the Phragmites that's taken over that area. So they have a DEP number. They, I have no other questions. I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Vivian?
No questions?
A remarkable piece of property.
Beautiful.
As important as it is to have the restoration take place, I have to say that I'm a little sad to see it go, because it's such a unique parcel. But that's all, thank you.
Sophia?
Just out of curiosity, who owns the rest of the island?
The north of the subject property is what they call quote-unquote owners unknown
Oh,
parcels.
huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it looks great.
Okay, I have no questions. It looks like a great thing to do to me, so. Great, looks good. Anything from anyone in the room who would like to comment or ask questions, or is there anyone online who has anything to say about this? Doesn't look that way.
I'll move that we approve the notice of intent for 70 Lothrop Ave, map 20, parcel A2.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang on, I'll go get Wayne.
Good evening.
Is it public access now?
There's,
Get out there, Sophie. Just when we discovered it.
it's been filled right across the marsh.
We went for the site visit. I was just curious, is it okay to go and walk anytime, or is it still?
I would say probably. I mean, it's the trust property, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that
So before we continue, there are a couple of people online. Do we need to remind anybody that we're
I
not?
can make the announcement if you want.
Yeah,
Just for anybody who's listening, just wanted to let people know that the Conservation Commission will not be hearing the project for 64 Smith Street this evening. The applicant has requested a continuance to September 17th to address some of the questions and comments that I, as staff, had on this project. So we will not be having any testimony on 64 Smith Street at all this evening.
okay, so the next item on the agenda is a notice of intent for 10 Harwich Pines, map 103, parcel S1A-11 for dock reconstruction.
Please go take these.
You can also, going forward, you can scan them and send them to us too. That's fine. We'll take them.
All right.
Good evening. For the record, I'm John O'Reilly, representing Lissax and their proposed request. This property was in front of you probably 2 months ago, maybe, on some shorefront work and improvements that I helped with, and Blue Flax was really taking the lead on that. This is the second phase of the shorefront improvements. The Lissax purchased the property within the past year. The property did have an unauthorized dock on it. Mr. and Mrs. Lissack are looking to re-permit a seasonal dock into the waters of Long Pond. We have placed it centrally located on the property, adjacent to the recently permitted new stairway down the slope. It begins at a sandy beach at the edge of the pond and extends 64 feet out into the waters of Long Pond. I do have a landing at the end of the area, which is about 96 square feet, 8 by 12. And we are 35 feet from the eastern property line as it's projected into the pond, and 45 feet to the western property line as it's projected into the pond. The commission, I'm waiting on two things for the commission to take a formal action on this. And first is the Natural Heritage. I haven't heard back from them yet. Amy, you haven't?
I have not.
Yeah. So we did, because this is an unmapped, endangered or priority habitat. So we're waiting for that, and I have an appointment on the 20th with the Harwich Waterways Committee. They have not seen this dock yet, and I think the policy is that they need to give its blessing before you folks can give a formal approval. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. The dock is designed in accordance to your management and your dock requirements for freshwater docks. So with that, I'll stop talking and I'll happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Amy?
It's a good opportunity to flesh out anything tonight. So I will say Waterways and Conservation meet on the same night coming up. So we're trying to get more in the practice of not hearing things on the same exact night, and just that way giving the time for the harbor master to write up a little something. So just to let you know, it would be looking like September 3rd, most likely, for your continuance for us. So again, the new owners bought this place and found out that the existing structure was not permitted and wanted to do the right thing and permit it. As proposed, pending any conditions Heritage and Waterways may have, the dock meets our standards for docks on freshwater ponds. It's 64 feet long and we allow up to 80. The last section of the dock, essentially like the platform, is less than 100 square feet at 96. There is 4.6 feet of depth at the end, and we require 3. It's greater than 65 feet from adjacent water-dependent structures, and it's at least 25 feet from property lines. A question that I had for John was whether the 4x4 posts just rest on the ground, or are they proposing big feet? You said they just rest on the ground, which to me is fine. I was just making sure that they weren't driving or jetting them each year, which can get disruptive. He said they just rest on the ground, and what I would recommend, if and when this gets permitted, that you put a condition on that they are permitted to put on big feet, should they want to. Yeah, so I have no questions, and I would recommend a continuance to September 3rd.
Okay. Wayne?
I don't have anything.
No questions?
No questions?
Nothing from me.
Just one question. You're referring to a landing. Is that the landing that appears to already exist in the photographs? I mean, there's an item on the plan labeled landing. Is that something
yes.
is that new, or is that
No,
an
that-
existing
that's,
land?
that was there when they purchased the property, and it's really a deck. I believe it was part of the original permit, as part of the restoration of the shorefront.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
on
okay.
their last plan that we permitted 2 months ago.
But when you referred to a landing, that's the item you're referring to. Are you referring
I'm
to
sorry. That,
the float at the, or what?
the
Could
end
be-
platform
Okay,
is the
all right, all
landing.
right, Okay,
That should be corrected to say deck, not landing, sorry.
okay, all right. Just checking, okay. I don't think there's anything more here. Is there anyone who has any questions or comments? Hearing none. Have a motion?
We'll move to continue to September 3rd.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So next, we have a notice of intent for 7 Old Wharf Road, map 16, parcel X4, for swimming pool construction.
Good evening, David Clark Engineering on behalf of the Garniers. They're proposing to install a swimming pool. The only resource area is a floodplain. Very small portion of the project is within the floodplain. It's just the floodplain line clips a corner of the pool patio, and about 2/3 of the steps that are shown going down to the driveway area in the floodplain. We've tried to get it all out of the floodplain, but we are up against a setback requirement to the septic system leach field, so it is as far away as we could possibly get it. To mitigate the increase of coverage within the floodplain, we're removing some driveway, so there's no net increase in hardscape. So we've also provided a planting plan by Phil Cheney. Although we didn't feel mitigations required, we did reach out to Phil to do a plan. So he's proposing to plant a number of shrubs, one native maple tree, and a lot of that is within the floodplain. So the benefit is that we're restoring a portion of the property with native plantings. I think the total square footage of alterations within the floodplain is 200 square feet, and again, most of that is the restoration plantings. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Amy?
So when reviewing floodplain projects, we just want to make sure that whatever you're proposing on a property is not going to adversely impact other properties or other places on this property in the event of a flood. And this is an extremely small amount, 1 to 2 feet, most areas of fill, to kind of even the grade out. And like you said, 200 square feet of area that's impacted. I don't foresee how this project would have any adverse impact in the event of a storm to itself or abutters. The adjacent house, though lower, on the abutting property in elevation, is a ways away, and I just don't see how this is gonna displace any measurable amount of water for that. My only comment or suggestion is that it's floodplain and we don't have standards and we don't necessarily require all natives for here. But I would just encourage, instead of the Japanese maple, that they go with a native. I don't think it's something, again, we don't
I'm sorry.
traditionally condition plantings in just floodplain. But the other things look pretty good. But I would encourage a native maple.
I apologize, I said it was a native maple. Obviously, it's not.
Yeah, we can certainly put that on the permit, or if that's what the applicants actually do want, I can sketch that, I can put that in too. I have no other questions. I'd recommend approval of the project.
Sophia?
I have no questions.
I have no questions, I don't see any problem.
Wayne?
None.
I have nothing. We have a motion?
Dave, you had some, Dave
Yeah,
had something?
I do have one
Oh,
comment
okay.
regarding the maple. I'm looking at Phil's plan. It's outside the floodplain, so,
Oh, then we can't anyways, but,
so maybe he'll keep it.
yeah. Enjoy.
I'll make a motion, we approve the plan for 7 Old Wharf Road, map 16, parcel A4.
Second.
Further discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
An early night.
Two.
Don't jinx
Hey,
us.
don't jinx us.
I've jinxed it.
We're not done
Yeah,
yet.
really. Yeah, got a few more things. Next, we have a notice of intent for 2071 Route 28, Head of the Bay Road, map 109, parcel R1-B, for the replacement of existing timber bulkhead cap and adding fill, riprap placement near existing boat ramp, timber stairs replacement, invasive species management, replanting, and vista pruning. Do we have a
Good evening,
representative?
Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name's Ryan Kavanaugh. I'm from Ty and Bond, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of the Roman family this evening.
Okay.
I can share my screen if you'd like, or I can talk you guys through the plan. We're kind of addressing a number of items along the waterfront through one NOI. So can you guys see my screen all right?
Yeah.
So the existing property is on Pleasant Bay. With a number of different wetland areas, one specifically between the house and the head of the Bay Road to the west of the home. And then
Excuse
back
me,
to the-
Ryan, you're cutting out. I don't know whether you can,
It's the bandwidth of the presentation with this feed, so if you just
Oh.
wants to talk through the presentation, probably wouldn't cut out. Instead of presenting it
Oh.
as visual.
So Ryan, it's the bandwidth of the presentation is causing you to cut out. So maybe you could just walk us through the project. The commission does have the plans in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely, I can do that. So yeah, as I was saying, there's kind of a note, there's two very large wetland areas, one to the west of the house and one to the south of the house. Within the property, there's also a number of structures along the waterfront. There's the timber stairs, and then the seasonal section is the lower portion that couples with the seasonal timber pier that extends out into the water. The area that I'm referring to, the boat ramp, is kind of above that southern wetland. It's a little access path down to the waterfront along the residence. The resource areas that are included in the project site that are is ACEC. We're within an area of critical environmental concern. There's a coastal bank throughout the entire property. Land subject to coastal storm flowage, bordering vegetated wetlands, which is shown as the flagged area to the south, and then buffer zones throughout. And so the scope of the project, kind of as it was laid out before, is we're going to be doing a lot of invasive species management, kind of patchwork throughout the property to treat the invasives, try to bolster the bank as much as we can and replace the invasives that are removed with native plants, obviously in accordance with the planting plan. In addition to the invasive species management, we're proposing doing some vista pruning along the entire waterfront, along the edge of the house. I know you guys were out there. Some areas are pretty clear, but there's some other areas that are blocking, the views of the home. And then there's also a little bit of tree pruning. We're going to remove 2 pine trees that are along the edge of the boat ramp because they're getting choked out by that English ivy there. And then we're going to prune the older oak tree kind of at the back of, I'm going to call it the end of the driveway turnaround area just because some of those limbs are getting a little bit old and they're pretty close to the house. So the next area that I'm going to talk about that we're going to be doing work is on the south of the property. There's an existing timber bulkhead with a riprap revetment in front of it. And we're proposing here to replace the timber cap in kind. It's getting unsightly and a little bit dangerous for people kind of using that area. And then we're proposing to add fill behind the bulkhead. The tieback anchors that are supporting that timber bulkhead are exposed and to promote their life and as well as prevent kind of erosion behind it. We're just proposing to fill. It's only a little bit, and then we'll plant that area. I know that we had initially presented planting only beach grass in that area, but one of the comments was that can we look at other vegetation options in addition to the beach grass, and we can certainly do that. We'd probably be looking at, low-lying shrubs, bearberry, beach heather, bayberry, goldenrod, seaside goldenrod, just to name a few. And then moving north on the property, that corner called the north corner of the boat ramp is experiencing some erosion. We're initially proposing to add some more revetment in that corner to bolster that area, protect the coastal bank. But one of the comments was can we switch it to plants in fabric, like it with a geotextile instead? And that's certainly something we're open to discussing tonight, if that's the prerogative of the commission. And then lastly, we're looking at replacing the timber stairs in kind. I believe they're over 30 years old at this point. There have been a number of different boards replaced and kind of little maintenance that's been done here and there over the years, but I think it's time that they've reached the end of their service life, and we believe they should be replaced. They're going to be replaced in kind on timber posts, timber stringers and timber decking in the exact same location. We're going to keep the foundation piles within the revetment footprint. We'll probably have to get a little creative with how we connect those to the revetment, but the idea is to put them back exactly where they are right now. As far as access for the construction project, we're going to be using the driveway and that boat ramp and then the lawn behind the home. And then a little bit about scheduling. We're hoping to do the trimming, the vista pruning, the tree trimming, and the invasive treatment this fall in preparation for planting in the spring. And I think that is all I have this evening, unless I missed anything egregious. So thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Amy?
All right, well, let's go through it piece by piece, because there's a lot of work being proposed here in different areas.
Absolutely.
So, I appreciated getting your colleague Jennifer's feedback on the comments that I had sent in. I would encourage you to consider, I'd like to see your new proposed planting plan for behind the bulkhead. We'll start at the bulkhead and work our way north, I guess. So I have no issues with wanting to redo the cap and doing clean compatible fill behind it to protect the integrity of the bulkhead. But I would want to see what you're proposing a little bit more clearly for plantings there. It's kind of a transitional zone. The elevation that it's at, it wants to be kind of an upper marsh habitat. But by adding a foot or two or so of fill, how is that going to change that, and what species would be most appropriate for that area? So happy to, between now and the next meeting, review that with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The pine trees on the bank, or on the slope, if you're kind of on the slope heading towards the wetland there. The one that's closest to the access, the ramp essentially, that one's really not compromised at all. It's shown, it's in Appendix C, page 1 of your photographic log. You can see clearly that one of the trees that's more on the slope itself is very overcome with ivy, but the other one's really not, and it doesn't pose a threat to the house or anything else, and it is kind of right on the edge of a slope. So I would prefer it to stay if it can. It's not showing any signs of beetle infestation or anything else. So I would say removal of the one tree, I would be amenable to, the one that's highly infested with ivy, but the other one's just, has a few vines, that can easily be nipped and managed.
Yeah, understood, thank you.
Yeah, and the area where you propose the rocks, I appreciate that you're looking into a more soft solution for that. It's a very small area, and I do think with some fill, matting, or if needed, a very small diameter kind of fiber roll that you could fill behind and plant up, I think that would solve most of your issue. We are in the Pleasant Bay ACEC, this is a coastal bank, and currently though they do have a rock wall, I don't see the need to expand the rock wall if there are other viable softer alternatives. Certainly nowhere near in jeopardy of, or in way of jeopardizing the home where the erosion is. And then moving up towards, for the view, well, actually, so first we'll do the staircase. I have no issue with you replacing the existing staircase in kind. It's starting to get kind of rickety. As far as the views, I did have an opportunity to speak with the owner when we were on site the other day and just get some clarification on what they wanted for views. They have kind of a designated view window that's centered around that staircase right now. And I think maintaining that area with proper pruning techniques, because proper pruning techniques I don't think have been always used here, but proper pruning, lateral pruning techniques and thinning, I think that fits in, even though it's been topped in the past, I think that's their major view area that they've had for many years, but I just think we could prune it better. And then the owner had mentioned wanting to prune kind of along the whole entire top of the bank, and by prune I mean lower the shrub vegetation and prune up lower limbs of trees. I think instead of completely all the way across, I'd like to discuss with you and the commission, there's another small window that lends itself towards some view pruning by removing lower limbs of trees, but others not so much. There's some very nice mature cedars which shouldn't be touched, and the commission kind of likes to, per their regulations, not have a panoramic view, really kind of focus your views in these corridors. So I think between what they currently have now, I think there's an area that they could prune a little bit more without doing a lot of damage to get another window view, peep view through that vegetation. And I'd be happy to send a plan that shows the area that I'm talking about to you by the end of the week.
Yeah, that would be really helpful, thank you.
Yeah, and just be mindful of the species that you're proposing to replant, especially on the slope towards the ramp. It is still pretty shady. You're gonna remove a lot of that ivy, which is fantastic. But I would take a look at your plant list for that area, and I'd, again, be happy to discuss it with you between this meeting and the next. I think some of what is shown may not love just how shady that is there, but that's being nitpicky. So I'll stop, and interested to see what the commission has to say.
Wayne?
I don't have anything, I think Amy covered it pretty well.
Okay.
No questions.
I would agree, I think she covered very well.
I have a couple of thoughts. I agree with Amy on the alternative to beach grass. I think it seems like what's holding that right now is like some really nice marsh grasses, Phragmites not included in that, that I think would be probably a better direction to go in. And then my only other thought was with the view pruning, I think there's kind of like when you're looking at the water from the house on the right side, there's like this sweep of beach plum and eastern red cedar and oaks and things like that, and that's a spot that we were looking at, and I think that's a big ask in terms of pruning down the beach plum there, because I think the odds, it's like it relies too much on somebody being very careful about pruning it, and I think that in general, like, that's not a good idea to lean on that, but I think that limbing up a couple of the oaks in that area might be okay. Otherwise, it's such like a nice, lush, native dominant area that I don't think it's a good candidate for view pruning, but the whole sweep on either side of the stairs there, I think, that's all kind of like, it's a lot of invasive stuff, and it'll be great to see natives planted there. And that seems like a really reasonable area to keep a good view. The only thing I would further say is that on either side you have beach plum proposed, which is obviously such a great pick for the spot. It makes me worried that that's gonna get too big there and then need to be pruned and then kind of open a can of worms. So I wonder if, without like losing the addition of more of that species, which is clearly like thriving there, perhaps reconsidering the location of those just for the view pruning thing.
That's a good point.
That's a great point. Thank you.
Thank you, that's all.
Okay, I think I agree with Amy. I don't have anything to add here. Is there anyone online? There's no one in the room. Is there anyone online who has anything to add or questions? I don't. Yes.
So if not, Ryan, our next two meeting, so we would need revisions a week prior, so if you wanted to come to our August 20th meeting, we would need revisions a week from today, or you could have September 3rd. We would need revisions a week prior to that.
Well, let's do September 3rd, please.
Sure.
I think a week is a quick turnaround for some of the discussions that need to be had. Plant issues and such, so.
I'd be happy to speak with you and Jennifer, and the homeowner if needed, next week at some point, if you wanted to go over the project together.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Send me an email with some times.
Okay.
All right, so they're asking for a continuance to September 3rd.
Can we have a motion?
I'll move for continuance to September 3rd.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a notice of intent for 64 Smith Street, map 19, parcel B1, for demolition of existing barns, and 2 existing barns and 4 sheds, construction of a townhouse building with 6 single-family units, new septic system, new water main, reconfiguration of existing gravel driveway, site grading, and landscaping. As I understand it, a continuance has been requested.
Yes, to September 17th, in order to address some of the questions and comments I had on the project, mainly pertaining to the wetland delineation.
Okay, I'll move that we continue 64 Smith Street, map
Second.
19, parcel B1 to September 17th.
17th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
5 and 0. Thank you. Then, now, we have a notice of intent for 11 Nons Road, map 6, parcel C1-10, SE 32-2598, for reconstruction of an existing dock. This has been continued from July 16 this year. The applicant has requested a continuance to September 3rd, 2025.
Just to let you know, they are asking for this continuance to allow them to go back to waterways with a design that they have vetted through me. And they're going waterways on the 20th, so our next available meeting after that is September 3rd.
I'll make a motion to continue 11 Nons Road, map 6, parcel C1-10, SE 32-2598 to September 3rd, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And then we have a notice of intent for 31 Mill Road and 6 Brora Drive, map 15, parcels U3 and U2-2, SE 32-2603 for reconstruction of an existing joint-use dock and maintenance dredging. This has been continued from July 16 this year, and the applicant has requested a continuance to August 20th this year.
That's also to go to waterways, and I did tell them that that's the same, we meet the same night as waterways, so for now, continue it to August 20th, but they may ask for another continuance to September 3rd, just to let you know. But they did ask for August 20th, so.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue 31 Mill Road and 6 Brora Drive, map 15, parcels U3 and U2-2, SE 32-2603 to August 20th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So next is an order of conditions for 0 Snow Inn Road and 69 Snow Inn Road, map 15, parcels P3-A and P3-1, SE 32-2608 for a dock restoration.
So, sorry, this came to you today, so it was on your desk in your day of packets here. So if you want to take a minute and go through the special conditions, please do.
So I have one comment.
Hmm.
I was in Witchmere Harbor yesterday on a little family outing in a boat, and I didn't get all the way across to that dock because it's awfully crowded in there. But I swear I saw a boat tied to the eastern side of the dock, which we don't say anything explicit about that. And the float is on the west side. It was dead low tide. It was very shallow in there at the time we were in there yesterday afternoon. And a little concerned about large boats being moored in that way, and we don't really say anything
Yeah,
in the order of conditions, and I didn't get close enough to get a really good look, but,
sorry, I'm just looking back, because I was at the area today.
oh, did you take some photos?
Yeah, it's of the, not of what I wanted to. Not that would help me here.
Oh,
Just a little bit too
okay.
far over,
I
because I
didn't
was
take-
on an
I
adjacent property.
didn't even try to take photographs, because I was paying attention and not
Yeah.
running into other people's boats.
If there was a way that, I mean, what we talked about at the meeting was that unless they got permit to dredge, you know, that they can't park a boat on the north side. They could do it on the south side. So if you wanted to be specific and say they can only,
Only on the south side.
south side, I can
would
do
prefer to
that.
have that language. I don't know what other
Yep.
people think, but.
that's what we discussed at the meeting, so that would be, yeah. Okay, so. North, west, or east. Only allowed on south. Okay.
Commissioners, sorry to butt in here. This is Ryan with Ty and Bond. I'm here on behalf of Dan Chermickley, as well for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just relay everything you guys are talking about to him.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And you had said, at the last hearing for this, Ryan, that they've been kind of in the works for doing a dredge permit, so hopefully that
Correct.
will, you know, that will be shortly enough, so they won't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
Other than that, I don't have any other comments. Does anyone else have any?
No.
So I'll move we approve the order of conditions with the modifications we just discussed.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
For you, Wayne. We can do the next two together, Mr. Chair, if you'd like, for the certs. Same property.
Remind me,
Certificates of compliance?
yes, but 8 Mill Road, where,
On Nantucket Sound, between Witchmere and Saquatucket Harbor entrances.
okay, all right. Any discussion?
No. Me.
So one was so 8 Mill Road, one was a sewer system replacement, and one was beach cleaning. This,
Okay,
for the beach especially, there's almost no beach left at high tide there. They really need sand nourishment. I'm thinking that the next time the town does nourishment, they'll hopefully have some sand available, but, it's overall in good condition. They're not nesting shorebirds there. This would clean up the deed. Property is transferring, so if the new owners want to do anything on the property or beach, they have to come in front of us. So if you move, I would just say it's 8 Mill Road and then give the two SE numbers for it.
I'll move that we approve certificates of compliance for 8 Mill Road, map 8, parcel T2, SE 032-1169 and SE 032-2124.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5 and 0.
That's two of these.
Okay, next we have discussion and possible vote, board reorganization. It's that time of year again. We need to vote on a chair and a vice chair. Anyone care to volunteer for either one of those positions? If there are no volunteers, I will.
Are you
Okay.
willing?
I am willing to continue in the role for another year, but
And Mark is our vice right now.
I can do that.
Does anybody else have interest?
Feel free.
Not I.
Not this year,
Carry
okay.
on, carry
So
on.
we will just need a motion
Need a
to
motion?
make John, keep John as chair and Mark as vice chair.
I'll make a motion, we keep John as chairman and Mark as vice chairman of the Harwich Conservation Commission.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
Well done,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, right.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have minutes.
July 2nd and July 16th of 2025. And if there are edits, I don't have a copy in front of me, so pass them over. Viv's got hers.
I already got one.
Oh, good. Yeah, Lisa's doing a great job.
She's doing a fantastic job. I just don't know.
Okay, who it is,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she's saying for the hearing on Silver Shores LLC, it's questioning who somebody is in the
Yeah, I
last
just
paragraph.
didn't see the name before that. That was the reason I put a circle around it.
Who was the representative? I think it was Dan. I think it was Dan Sierra McCauley. It must have been, because that's his representative.
Okay.
That's who I would guess. Okay. And that was on the minutes from July 2nd.
Any other comments? We need a little more time? Okay. We could do them both
Mm-hmm.
in a single motion.
Ready?
Go for it.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 2nd, 2025, and July 16th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so what you need to do now is have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting,
Mhm.
and then all in favor, and then you do a roll call, a motion, a second, and a roll call to enter into executive session. And then we'll give Matt a minute to take us offline.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the meeting of August 6th, 2025.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.